Let me ask you a question. What will you do when someone forces you to play one video game your whole life? Maybe you will choose a sport game like EAFC, or maybe you will choose a war game like CSGO or Call of Duty. But for me, unlike most answers, I will choose the video game that I will talk about today, Freedom Fighter. But before starting the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. In 2002, EA Games officially announced Freedom: The Battle for Liberty Island, a tactical game that takes place in a parallel universe in which the Soviets succeeded in winning the Cold War. But EA discovered that they already has a game with almost the same story and the same gameplay. On the other hand, IO Interactive achieved amazing success after they released Hitman 2. So EA goes to IO Interactive to help them make a game with a genre that we may not or will never see before. And in 2004, Freedom Fighter is published. We see a sinking boat with some addition events in the game world explain what happened. The Soviet Union invented the nuclear bomb first before the US and drove it on Berlin in order to end World War II. In 1953, all of Europe remains under the communist regime. Not only that, the Soviet Union also succeeded in placing its nuclear missiles bases in Cuba. The rest of the event tells that the entire world remained under the communist banner. Then you see something huge, like a submarine with a star on it. The submarine rises to the surface of the ocean, and we see the State of Liberty and a military aircraft flying around it. In a car on a bridge in New York, which appears to be a Manhattan Bridge. We were listening to a person saying that his romantic date went wrong while his brother was next to him. The brother doesn't care about his words. We knew that they are both plumbers, like Super Mario and Luigi. They were going to a house of a woman named Isabella Angelina to fix her plumbing. Luigi tells Mario that Isabella is a media activist, shows how the American government should stop communist expansion. Mario still doesn't care about his brother's words until they reach Isabella's house and find the door open. They both enter to see their work. Suddenly, they find the Soviet soldiers storming the house, after which the leader enters, the Giga Chad, the top G, the alpha male. This Giga Chad catches Luigi and thinks he is Isabella's boyfriend. He takes him to make him confuse her location. At this time, Chris is hiding in the bedroom and the game begins. We will play as Chris. We go outside to find a Soviet officer beating an old man. We give him and the old man tells us to follow him because he knew a place we can escape from. Of course, we don't understand anything, so we follow him. We go to the roof to find a soldier in front of you. The old man shoots him dead. Why didn't you use the gun in the first place with the officer? Many questions. We take the gun from the soldier and go up to the roof to catch up with the brother and see him being kidnapped by the helicopter. We pass a light tutorial to understand the game mechanics. At the same time, we are running through the street of New York during the occupation. Streets with buildings, buildings with people, people with a story. Until you find an injured citizen and heal him. This man's name is Bugs. He thanks us and tells us to follow him because he knew how we can escape from here. Of course, you follow him to the roof after running from the roof, and then you find a Molotov. He teaches us how to throw it at the soldiers to make them come up. We reach a sewers tunnel to escape like any Super Mario game. A live news shows a Soviet woman saying that she will be reporting the news about the country because all Americans are on vacation in Alaska prisons. She says the first news is that the occupation process has been successful so far. This Giga Chad is called General Tatarin and will be the leader of the country. And she ends her words with,
"Welcome New York to a better future."
We go back to the source again, where you find Bugs and the old man whose name is Jones, who literally had 36 degrees neck twisted. Jones says that this is now the resistance base or the American resistance movement. We will call it Hammam. He tells us to look at the map on the table. We find two places, police station and post office. The police station where Isabella imprisoned. The post office has Chris' brother's Mr. Luigi imprisoned, whose name is Troy. As a player, you can choose to start with any parts. I choose the police department. We go there to find police officers trapped behind a car, and one of them is injured. We talk to the officer and he asks us for help. There's a Soviet sniper above the gas station, so we take the C4, go to the post office, blow the gas station, and back to the police officer. He thanks and advises us to take the metro tunnel because the entrance to the station is full of soldiers. We do what he said. We reach the end of the tunnel and meet another officer who tells us to try to hide between the cars so that no one sees us, and we sneak out the back door of the station. We arrive as a station garage, and from there we enter to the station, fighting the Soviets units until finally we liberate Isabella and raise the flag at the station. Then we go to the post office part. You and Isabella enter a house and Isabella tells you about the situation of the people. How were they affected by the Soviets? She tells you about someone who lost a family member or lost his home, and now we are a freedom fighters, until you reach a room which windows overlook the post office. Isabella tells you that there's a lot of Soviet soldiers and she gives you 2 of her best men, as she said. The 3 of us go to free the post office where Chris' brother is imprisoned. We go down and find an injured citizen nearby and heal him. Every time you help an injured civilian, Chris's charisma bar increase and allows more soldiers to join us during the game. You can even reach a 12 soldiers. Then we climb the container and Isabella teaches us how to command our soldiers. Finally, we succeeded in this mission. Chris's brother is free along with the post office. The first chapter ends. We cut to the news says that Isabella ran away with a person who looks like a civilian, but we don't know his name. We gonna name him the Freedom Phantom. Katiana asked Tatarin, do you condemn Hammam? Degagashad says that these are acts of sabotage and that they include some rebels and terrorists. We go to a call from the head of the KGB. His name is Colonel Bobo. Katiana asked Bobo, do you condemn Hammam? He confirmed what General Tatarin said. After 3 months, specifically in the fall, it appears that the resistance or Hammam has more followers, but Isabella tells us that the Soviet army is much stronger. Bugs respond to her that the supplies will not stop because of the bridge, so we must blow it up. Troy suggests that he go and negotiate with other resistance groups so that we can unite and increase our numbers. This chapter has 3 missions: fire station, hotel, and the port. The fire station has the bridge that brings supplies and we must destroy it. The port has helicopters that protects the bridge. The hotel contains prisoners, ammunition, and most important thing is the C4, which we will use to destroy the bridge and the helicopter. The plan is as follows. First, we will go to the hotel to take the C4, free the prisoners, and also take over the hotel. Then we go to the port, blow up the helicopter, liberate the port, and prevent any supplies coming to the enemy from the sea. And the last thing, we go to the fire station, blow up the bridge, and liberate the fire station. On the other hand, Tatiana asks the Fuse, do you condemn Hammam? General Tatarin says that the Soviet army suffered heavy losses because of the rebels. We must reach a solution through civilized discussion in which we can reach an argument. But still, do you condemn Hammam? Isabella is surprised by the amount of information Jones has. She tells us to prepare for what is coming. This time the map is divided into 3 parts: the port, movie theater, and the electricity station. We go to the port. We blew up 2 bridges that Soviet uses to transform soldiers and free prisoners. Then we go to the movie theater. There we go, sneak in and blow up the helicopter. Then we try to enter the movie theater for one of the best battles in the game. That is why I love this game. Despite the time it was published, it gives you everything and more to show you a real battle between a resistance and army. Here, let me show you.
Defend here. Defend this area. Defend this area. That's a picture.
ماتوا ماتوش اسود لا توقف اسمه
Masterpiece. After that, we go to the electricity tower. We break into the place, blow up the tower, and go to the station. Breaking news, the KGB succeeded in arresting one of rebel leaders, and this person is Troy. And the first question is, do you condemn Hammam? General Tatarin holds a press conference and makes Troy make statements that means they are just irresponsible kids who are being corrupted by the influence of video game and the greedy capitalist system. Troy advised Chris to surrender himself to the Soviet army. But
Soviet army has once
Everything I
again...
said was lies. They forced me, Chris. Don't believe this stinking propaganda. Keep fighting. Set us all free. Get you in.
And now to the weather for tomorrow. I hear it is getting colder, comrade Ilyana?
We start with Jones, Bugs, and Isabella. The three tells Chris that Troy was executed and the resistance must revenge. Jones advises Chris to kill General Tatarin himself. He suggests that Chris should go alone. Isabella agrees, but Bugs objects that it's a suicide mission. After a lot of talks, Chris goes on an association mission to the island of the Soviet government. This mission, unlike the others, will be completely stealth. The game was originally designed by the studios that made Hitman. They were used in advertising for the game by saying that they are the same people who made Hitman, so they must at least add one stealth mission. We reach the island by boat, go to ventilation tower and take the sniper. We sneak until we reach the highest point on the map and we will see this, the strongest person in this game. A tank on a two-leg. I hate this thing. I forget Tatarin. What he's doing?
I put the new 4Gs on the G. I trap in.
We trying to run away from the same place we came from and return to our base. When we return, we hear a voice of Colonel Bobo. He lied to us and he was Jones. This was all his plan. He established the resistance and provided it with information in order to first kill General Tatarin and take his place. Then he finished the resistance since he is its founder and know all its secrets. Also to say that his first day as a commander he ended the resistance. A plan that only come from a Satan. We reached the base and find it destroyed and Soviet soldiers literally everywhere. This mission is linear and the price for a mistake is huge because there are no checkpoints. If you die you will repeat the mission from the beginning. Unlike more than 3,000 children, we finally run away. Breaking news! The Soviet army has captured many members of the resistance. One of the victims who died as a hero of the battle at the main base of the resistance was General Tatarin. And now to the speech to the new president, General Bobo.
Comrades, this is indeed a day of infamy. We are gathered here today to bid farewell to our great leader. We came to restore law and order, to secure peace and stability in this region, and save the American citizens from brutality and exploitation. And this is the brave general's reward? He shall not have died in vain. As second in command, I respectfully take his place, and I vow today to track down the cowardly scum who committed this outrage. I swear revenge today on the so-called Freedom Phantom Christopher Stone and puny army of remaining rebels for the brutal killing of our beloved leader, Tatarin. Stone, your days are numbered. You and your followers will be flushed out and destroyed like sewer rats. Long live the Soviet Union! Long live the revolution! Long live Soviet government of the United States!
Back to Chris and his gang, we find that they have taken an abandoned metro station at their new base. Bugs and the kid talk about how they can't do anything without information. The kid responds to him that they must control the television station in order to broadcast a statement that the resistance is still not over yet, and everything that is being published is just a Soviet propaganda. Two areas must be liberated: the school, where a lot of resistance men being imprisoned, and the TV station. I choose to start with school. We sneak up to the helicopter that secures the television station and blow it up. Then we go to the school and free the prisoners there and go to the TV station. This is one of the linear missions, but it's good. For the first time we can face tank in this game, and from distance 0 we blow it up. We break into the TV station until we reach to Katiana, and finally we can speak.
New Yorkers, fellow Americans, I am Chris Stone, the so-called Freedom Phantom. I stand before you today a free man, and I vow to die a free man. Like you, my world was shattered 8 long months ago. I watched as my family and friends were tortured, captured, and killed. I have nothing left of my former life, except the hope for a better future. A better future for our children. The American dream. I, for one, still believe in that dream. We've read this in our school books as children. Now is the time for us to embrace those ideals and stand up against the weight of tyranny. We have a duty to ourselves to throw off our oppressors. When I look around this city, I do not see smoldering ruins. No, instead, I see a sleeping army, ready to awaken. The world is watching us now. How we respond will prove our claim. I stand before you and the world today to reaffirm the pledge our forefathers made to each other and for each of us. To protect our lives, our fortunes, and our self-worth. So I ask you now to take up arms against the evil invaders and yell in their faces that they will never take our freedom! Freedom!
As a result of Chris's speech, many people joined the resistance. Chris decided to attack the island of the Soviet government. Since we are in winter, the surface of the ocean is frozen. We take advantage of this, and the entire resistance army will attack until we reach a gap in ventilation tower that is already connected to the sewers tunnel. If we can blow it up, we will be able to get the rest of the supplies and soldiers to the island. Chris gave Bugs the C4. The resistance actually reaches the border of the island, but the Soviet army dropped explosives that broke the ice, like what happened in a hospital. Chris shoot a rocket to one of the helicopters, but it exploded next to the boat. As a result, C4 fell from Bugs in the ocean. Now the plane has changed. We must try to escape into the sewers tunnel on the island in order to gather ourselves and prepare for the next step. After many tries, I don't remember how many times I died in this mission. Finally, I blew up the tower. We are trying to connect to the island sewer system and go to escape to the sewer system of the island and take it as a temporary base. This time, the map is divided into 5 parts. The entrance of the island where we came from. The port contains the weapon and the C4, and a place with hounds and a helicopter that protects the island. Finally, the main base of the Soviets. What I did was this. First, we go to the port to get the C4, but there's a problem.
ما بيسميش.
I won't let you go.
والله لا سيفها والله.
I won't let you go.
ما فيش ما فيش.
Oh,
بقى. تعال نحس بكل دقيقة. تعال. ايوه.
After a lot of effort, I finally get the C4. I returned to the entrance of the island and went to blow up the ventilation tower. Finally, the supplies and soldiers arrived. We cleared the entrance to the island. Because of this, the soldiers will start with us every time. Then we go to the port again and free it. Finally, we go to the area that secures the island. We blew up the hounds, and finally, we go to the center. We free Isabella and we raise the 5 flags. The final scene between Chris and Isabella. It was one of the most beautiful debates in history of gaming. Chris here doesn't know what if he did right or wrong. Was he really supposed to resist while thousands of innocents and men died in his name and under his banner? Or he should do nothing and surrender so no one died? But Isabella tells him that what he did was right. If you hadn't done that, someone would have, because they do not understand that it is our land. They can bomb us, they can cut off electricity, internet and gas. They even can move us to Sinai. They won't understand. There is always will be Hammam. While I was playing, I felt that the studio really wanted to expand this game, but because of the limitation of this generation, they couldn't. The gameplay was frankly smooth for a game released at this time. The method of movement and control of soldiers was doing as it should. The AI in the game is clearly advanced compared to the generation in which it was released. The missions are designed well, giving you more freedom in the way to complete them. Sometimes it's scripted as frick, sometimes there is a chaos everywhere. The only problem is shooting. There is no accuracy in this game. As much as you try, you just can't get a headshot, except from the sniper. I know that Chris is plumber and he never used gun before, but no matter how many missions there is, no improve in his shooting skills. But he gets these muscles instead. Let me tell you that Jasper Cade, the man who made the soundtracks for Hitman, Assassin's Creed, and all of these games, what his was favorite game?
It was so awesome. But I did play those games a lot though while I was writing the music, especially Freedom Fighters. That's probably the game I played the most out of any of the games I worked on. I would play that game over and over and over while I was writing the music. And the, all this choir music we recorded for that game it's not all something that was totally planned out from the beginning. It happened as I was playing the game, and I was like, let's do this, let's do that, and let's make this really about the propaganda. Because that game is all about propaganda. Not everybody understood that, but that's what that game is at its core value.
There is 18 soundtracks. They are all in Russian. But why? Why did Jasper did that in-game talk about American resistance?
Propaganda.
He knew that the soldiers of the Soviet army are brainwashed about nonsense, like the chosen people or the non-stoppable army, lies that they use to kill and kill and kill. But how can you stop this? Do not support them. Do not buy their products like food or coffee or even drinks. Don't support the genocide. Always remember, always talk and always fight. So, do you want to be a Soviet soldier or a freedom fighter?
Mama Gaza's getting bombed, but nobody's saying it. I'm kinda getting scared now, but nobody's getting it. Today I saw my own cousin's brains getting split. See, they terrorize my days, but say that I'm the terrorist. How can I be the terrorist? Do you know a terrorist? Cause all my life I've been terrorized, so I can't be the terrorist. Trapped behind barriers, life is getting scarier. These settlers celebrate every bomb setting that buries us. Used to death, worried, I'm infatuated with bodies of being distorted. Sometimes I wish I was aborted, ripped out of my mother's wounds. I know I'm sick in the morbid, but they cannibals, they animals, they grilling our organs. Auschwitz reincarnated, brought back to life by the victims that were burned by the Nazi lights. The flame ignites again. Gaza children getting wiped with terrorists, coming all ages, even ones flying kites. في غزة ولدت الشماخة، ترعرع بها أقوى الخلاقة، فإن لم تحررنا العروبة صنعنا من دمامنا السيوف. When I was young, they used to hear the sound of rockets and hide. My mommy would tell me there were celebrations all the time, so I started celebrating every time we heard that sound till that rocket hit the ground. Exploded around. Mommy, I'm burning, take me out of the house. But mommy's busy choking on guts coming out of her mouth. أمي حبيبتي أرجوك أنقذيني من الموت. لكن الأمة تمتلئ الأحشاء والخوف. His precious mother passed away, but son made it alive. His body's scars remind him of the love in his mother's eyes. Still the world blamed his soul for holding stones and pride. He lost his mother, lost it all. There's nothing more to lose inside a revolution. He has cries from heaven, they yelling. You got to bring your people together, fight the oppression. You got to lead. Now your people are in need. Fight and never bow until the last mother effing breath you breathe. Reject the siege, inhale the smell of debris. Protect olive trees as blood cells will leak. But don't fear, we connect through blood, sweat and tears. Love kept me here through all these messed up years. غزة ولدت الشماخة، ترعرع بها أقوى الخلاقة، فإن لم تحررنا العروبة صنعنا من دمامنا السيوف. في غزة ولدت الشماخة، ترعرع بها أقوى الخلاقة، فإن لم تحررنا العروبة صنعنا من دمامنا السيوف.